Hello everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel Best IT Solutions, and today I am going to discuss another most important topic of Java collection framework, that is HashSet. So internal implementation of HashSet. So how HashSet work internally in Java, that will discuss in this video. So working of HashSet in Java. So first we should know what is set, because set is the interface and HashSet is the implementation class of that interface. So Java set, a Java set interface represents a group of elements arranged like an array. So set is an interface represents a group of elements arranged like an array. It does not allow duplicate elements. The main unique features of set is that it does not allow the duplicate elements. When we try to pass the same element that is already available in the set, then it will not store it into the set. So if you will try to store the duplicate element or same element in the set again, then it will not store into the set. It is used to model the mathematical set abstraction. So it is used to model the mathematical set abstractions. So this set abstraction it will work. So Java HashSet class. So what is Java HashSet class? So a Java HashSet class represents a set of elements. It does not guarantee the order of elements. So in HashSet class it does not guarantee the order of elements. In every time it prints in different orders. It constructs a collection that uses a hash table for storing elements. So it constructs a collection that uses a hash table for storing the elements. It contains unique elements. Yes, HashSet also contains the unique elements. It inherits the abstract class. So this HashSet inherits the abstract class and also implements the set interface. It also implements the set interface. It uses a technique to store elements is called hashing. So the HashSet is also used as a technique called hashing. HashSet uses hash map internally in Java. So in another video we have seen how hash map internally works. So in the same way HashSet uses the hash map internally to store the elements. So this HashSet extends the abstract class and it implements the set interface, and it is a technique. It uses a technique to store the element is called hashing. Hashing technique is also using here. The hashing technique is also used in hash map. So the hashing technique is also used in this HashSet class. So suppose we want to create a HashSet to store a group of string, then create the object as we can create in this that HashSet of this is the generic, that which type of HashSet is which type of element is going to store. So the elements are of type string, and HS is the instance of that HashSet equal to new HashSet. So HS is the object here. So where string is the generic type parameter, it represents the type of elements storing in the HashSet. Okay. Now HashSet implements the set interface. It guarantees uniqueness. A HashSet is the guaranteed uniqueness because duplicate element never stored in the HashSet. So how it is works? So it is achieved by storing elements as keys with the same value always. HashSet doesn't have any method to retrieve the object from the HashSet. So HashSet class does not provide any method to retrieve the object from the HashSet. There is only a way to get object from the HashSet via iterator. So via iterator we can retrieve the elements from the HashSet, because we can pass the this HashSet to that iterator and we can retrieve the elements through the iterator only. HashSet does not provide any methods to retrieve. Like in a map, the get method is provided by the map to retrieve the element, but in HashSet such there is no method found. When we create an object of HashSet, it internally creates an instance of hash map with default initial capacity of 16. Okay, because the default storing capacity of hash map is 16. So in the same, when we are creating the object of HashSet, internally it creates an instance of hash map only with default initial capacity of 16, because the hash map, the initial default capacity of hash map is 16. So when we create an object of HashSet, it internally creates an instance of HashMap with the default capacity 16. So HashSet uses a constructor called HashSet with capacity. Int capacity means this constructor has taken the argument as capacity size. So HashSet uses a constructor HashSet that represents how many elements can be stored in the HashSet. So this capacity represents how many elements can be stored in this HashSet. The capacity may increase automatically when more elements to be stored. So this capacity will be increased automatically when a number of elements are stored in the HashSet. HashSet uses another constructor HashSet int capacity float load factor. So here load factor defines the point where the capacity of HashSet would be increased. So load factor is the second argument. It defines that the point in where we need to increase the capacity of the HashSet. So there is a fixed size that if the elements added up to that capacity, then the capacity will be increased. So that will be calculated by some formula like the product of capacity and load factor is 101 into 0.5 equal to 50.5. It means that after storing 50th element into the HashSet, its capacity will be internally increased to store more elements. Okay, so if the capacity is 101 and the load factor is 0.5, so it will be 101 to 0.5, that is 50. The capacity of this HashSet is now 50. When 50 element already stored, then it will going to increase its capacity. It means that after storing 50th element, when it will store the 50th element, index not 50th element, into the HashSet, its capacity will be internally increased to store more elements. The initial default capacity of HashSet is 16. The default load factor is 0.75. Yes, the initial default capacity of HashSet is 16 and the initial load factor is 0.75. So the number of elements it can store now is 16 into 0.75. That much elements it will be stored, and then it will increase its capacity after storing that much elements. 16 into 0.75. So HashSet implementation. In the following, we are implementing add method which adds into HashSet. So we have given an example of programs, demo programs, to see the implementation of HashSet. Like this is the main class, and here HashSet, we have created the object of the HashSet. After the object, we have adding some values here. We have adding some value, and like we have printed here. And then through the iterator, we have also iterating the value and we are printing the value. Here we are printing the value directly through console, through sysout, and also through iterator we have printed the value. And now, yes, and now if we will add some, try to add some duplicate values here, like here already in these elements before added, and these elements newly I have added, and I am going to add these two elements again, because already this apple and orange elements are already there in HashSet. Again, if I will try to add these elements, what happened? It will ignore, it will not add to the element, add to the HashSet. And again we have printed the HashSet. So how it avoids that duplicate elements? What is the internal techniques to avoid these duplicate elements? In the above example, we have added some duplicate values. We can observe that duplicate values are not stored in the HashSet. Only the previous values and the newly values grapes we have added newly. That value only stored in the HashSet, and duplicate values have not stored. We can observe that duplicate values are not stored in the HashSet. When we pass duplicate elements in the add method of the set object, it internally returns false. How it returns false, we will see. Here the question arises that how it returns false. Yes, when you open the HashSet implementation of the add method in Java API, that is rt.jar, there is API called rt.jar. In that API, that add method has defined, we find the following code in it. Like, so it will create a map object. This is the HashSet which extends the abstract set, and this is the map transient map object, which is taking the HashSet value and the object. So this is the, and here the constant defined in the Java utility class like private static final object present, and so here we have initialized the map as new hash map and public boolean add e. So this add method returning a boolean value, true or false. So when it will return true, when it will return false, that we will see here. Return map dot put e is our value of HashSet and present equal to null. So if that value, here is the key. So if our value here is the key, if suppose we are adding apple, apple is the key here. If apple key value returns the null, then it will, if it will null, then that means it will not present in the HashSet, it will add. Or if it will return the value itself, then it will, if it will return the true, that means it will return the value and the elements already present in the HashSet, so it will not add. In the above code, okay, I am explaining clearly. In the above code, a call to add object is delegated to put key value internally. Where key is the object we have passed and the value is another object called present. So here key is the key we have passed and the value is another. Key is one object and the value present is another object. It is constant in java.util.hashset package. In java.util package, the HashSet package, this is a nested class, this is the constant, this present. So we are achieving uniqueness in set internally through hash map. So the uniqueness features of HashSet we are achieving internally through the help of hash map only, because when we create an object of HashSet, it will create an object of hash map. When we create the object of HashSet, it will create the object of hash map internally. We know that each key is unique in the hash map. In hash map, the key is unique. So we pass the argument in the add method. Here we need to associate some value to the key. It will associate with the dummy value, that is new object, which is referred by the object reference present. So if we pass that key as our value, we will pass that key of the HashSet value, then it will, if the value is present, it will return false. If the value is not present, it will return true. When we add an element in HashSet like hs.add India, add apple, Java does internally is that it will put that element apple as a key into the hash map granted during HashSet creation. It will also put some dummy value, that is object is passed as a value to the key. So if the when we trying to put this key as apple, Java does internally is that it will put that here apple as a key into the hash map generated during HashSet object creation. It will also put some dummy value, that is object is passed as a value to the key. Yes. So the important point about the put method is that if the key is unique and added to the map, then it will return null. Yes, if the key is unique and added to the map, then it will return null. And if the key is duplicate, if the key already exists, that means already there is a key present, then it will return the old value of that key. Then it will return the old value of that key. Otherwise, if the key is unique, then it will return null. So when we invoke add method in HashSet, Java internally checks the return value of the map.put. So when we invoke the add method, it internally checks the map.put method return value. That map.put that put method returns which type of value. If it returns the null value, then it will going to add, that means it is unique value. If it is written the old value, that means the key already present, it is duplicate key. Value of the map.put method with the null value. So null value will be checked. If the method return null, then it will unique value and it will going to add here. So public boolean add return map.put if present equal to null. So if the method map.put returns null, then the method map.put if present equal to null with return true internally and the element added to the hash set. Yes. So if the method returns null, that means internally it return true and the element will be added to the hash set. If the method map.put returns the old value of the key, then the method map.put will return false internally and the element will not add to the hash set. So how we can retrieve the value from the hash set? The hash set does not provide any methods to retrieve. We use iterator method to retrieve object from the hash set. So iterator method we are using to retrieve the object from the hash set, and it is a method of java.util.hashset class. It returns iterator for backup map returned by the map.keyset.iterator method. We use iterator method to retrieve object from the hash set. It is a method of java.util.hashset class. So this iterator method of hashset class, it returns iterator for backup map returned by the map.keyset.iterator method. So public iterator return map.keyset.iterator. So it will return the key set of the iterator, and through the iterator we can fetch the value from the hash set. Okay guys, so this is all about the internal implementations of HashSet. Thank you. If you learned something from this video, you can like, share and subscribe this channel.